All right, let's go to some other ways to make some cash. Let's hit on LinkedIn. Had a big move on Wednesday. Would you be selling here?
LinkedIn has had a big move from the lower 60s. We talked about this one, acting really well. I would have liked to have seen you get involved around 90 or 92. Right up here, it's a little tricky. If you look at this chart, I wouldn't be just jumping in. We had some more calculated entries as it broke this descending channel. This is why I love descending channels, because they ignite moves. And now coming back to these old highs, it's going to be tricky. It could be a pause. I would wait for a better setup.
Let's go to Under Armour. We've seen some strength from a lot of retailers, but this one's been lagging, but kind of wants to play catch up, but kind of lagging. What's your strategy for today?
Well, Lulu's been the one to go after,
right,
and ANF has actually been really well, acting well too. For Under Armour, I know it made new highs. It's been pausing here. So if you look, this actually has a nice setup. If this were to get going again, I would say you could get involved for a momentum play once it clears this upper channel. And I think the price around here is about $81.50. If it gets above it, you could see new highs, and it could be worth a look.
And then for Abercrombie, that has been performing better, do you want to take some profits?
I think I actually looked at that for another little setup here. It is near the highs, okay, right around this area. I think you had your calculated long when it broke the slower pivot. If it were to start getting above 75, you could see new highs here. This is one of those retail leaders as well.
All right, let's totally switch gears, go to MGM real quick. I know that Wynn's the leader in this group, but could MGM have a nice catch-up play very soon?
Well, people are talking about Vegas getting a little bit better. They're talking about the economy getting a little better without having some of the Chinese risk and overhead. So MGM has been a slow type mover. If you don't want to be in the Wynn or the LVS, I think you could buy MGM, but it's not going to be a barn burner. You just have to sit there, and then at the end of the year, everything starts getting a little bit better. I think you could still see 18 to 21.
All right, 3 stocks, not a lot of time. Let's go to JOYG Global. So they might make a bid for International Mining Machinery, which is a Chinese company that makes coal mining equipment. Could be a big competitor to Caterpillar. This is going to be a big mover today. What's the chart saying, and what's a good level, a breakout level that you want to be paying attention to?
Let me put this up for us so we can take a look. This was actually a really nice mover when it broke this lower range, right here. And now it's hovering, trying to hang in there. Looks like a lot of other things as well.
Yeah.
It's going to have to start getting above this 99.50, and then it's going to contend with these old highs. But this is in the game. It's above all the moving averages. This is a leader in that group, and I think it's a decent investment.
And Caterpillar, speaking of leaders, was one of the best performing stocks in the Dow yesterday. What's a good strategy for today? You want to lighten up a little bit?
You can, and it's funny because we talk about Caterpillar probably in the last 5 months has been great entries, great exits, buying on weakness, sometimes for momentum for a Caterpillar.
Yeah.
And then at the highs here, it's been prudent to sell some. Like from this high all the way down, everyone got a little scared. This was your calculated entry. I think we even went over it here when it broke above this area, and now it's getting a little choppy here. If you look at the same, all these charts are starting to look the same. They're starting to hold higher. They're starting to consolidate. But if they start getting above this pivot, it could be a new highs too. And this is a decent investment vehicle as well. It just needs a bit more time.
And again, it's the whole fight between a weaker economy but better stocks, especially those that have a lot of exposure to overseas markets like China, like Caterpillar does. Rounding it out with this segment with JP blowout earnings here. I really feel, we had earnings came in at $1.34 a share, way above the top line estimates of $126. Revenue beat. We also had investment banking net revenue up 16%. That was a huge beat from what analysts were expecting. Equity markets fixed income up 19%. You were surprised, though, the stock wasn't moving as much.
Well, when I first saw it come out, the stock was up like 30, 40 cents. By the time I came in here, it was up 70, 80 cents. So they're starting to read through and say, wait, there's not any really bad news here. Where's the caveat? So with all that good news and with the oversold nature of the banks in this stock, this could be something to watch where there could be some power because we haven't had any follow through in the banks. So if you look at the chart of JP Morgan, just to show you, it's up a little bit. It's in this lower pivot. I think this has some room to at least this 42 area. And if it were to ever start getting above some resistance and breaking higher, the market would get some power.
So what level would you want to buy if you were interested in a long-term investment with JP Morgan, if you're looking at a chart today?
Long-term, I think you could buy some today and then just know that you might have to buy a little bit more if the market doesn't start going and we don't resolve some of these problems. But this area in the low 40s, I think for the long-term investor, it's a good spot to